Tonight, from missing to murder suspects.
If you spot Briar or Cam, consider them dangerous.
2 childhood friends now on the run, wanted for 3 deaths in northern BC. The dramatic turn in the investigation.
I say to all the doubters, dude, we're going to get Brexit done.
He's colorful, off-the-cuff, brash even, and now the next UK Prime Minister. Why he has a tough road ahead.
All right, I'll tell you when to throw it.
And from whale watching to whale rescue, how a crew aboard a tour boat saved a humpback whale. This is The National.
For 4 days, they've been described as missing. Their truck abandoned and burned in a remote corner of northern British Columbia. And then today, a stunning announcement. Police said the 2 young men are suspects in 3 deaths and subjects of a manhunt that so far has spanned 4 provinces. They are 19-year-old Cam McLeod and 18-year-old Briar Schmigelski from Port Alberni on Vancouver Island. Tonight, we'll take you to the remote BC communities, now crime scenes, and to the suspect's hometown, now in shock. But first, Renee Filipponi takes us through the major advance in the investigation.
Cam and Briar are no longer considered missing.
The RCMP investigation turned on its head. The search for 2 missing teens, now a national manhunt.
The RCMP are now considering Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski as suspects.
19-year-old Cam McLeod and 18-year-old Brian Schmigelski are now moving fast, seen yesterday in Manitoba, and before that captured in these surveillance images in Saskatchewan. At the time, driving a 2011 Toyota RAV4.
They could have changed their appearance or attempted to change their appearance. They could be wearing different clothing. They could be driving a different vehicle.
Police warn people to stay away.
We don't know exactly, what they may be carrying or even what their thoughts are.
Australian Lucas Fowler and American China Dees were on a road trip when they were shot and killed sometime early last week. This video is some of the last images of them alive before their bodies were found near their van on remote Highway 37. 4 days later, and nearly 500 kilometers away, another body was found. An unidentified man found 2 kilometers from a burning truck belonging to McLeod and Schmigelski. Police aren't saying what changed, only that new information came to light, including the recent sightings of the pair very much alive.
This is a fast-moving investigation and is compounded by several factors, which include the vastness of the North, the fact that individuals have made some effort to move out of jurisdictions. All those things contribute to our ability to quickly identify additional information or additional facts.
But for the victims' families, the wait is excruciating.
I need for anyone with information to share that, because this can't happen to another family. And it shouldn't have happened to ours.
RCMP have reached out to police right across the country and warned the public to call 911 immediately if they see the suspects. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
In remote Dees Lake, investigators are searching for answers, and so are the people who live there. They've been dealing with these gruesome crimes so close to home and the anxiety that a murderer was on the loose. Greg Rasmussen is now on the ground with how the community is coping.
4 days after it was first spotted burning, police sift through the charred remains of the suspect's truck, bit by bit, piece by piece, searching for evidence in one of a series of murders. Up the highway, another crime scene. This is where the man's body was found. The markings on the ground indicate investigators were very interested in the tire tracks left behind. All along this highway, with vast distances between communities, people have been talking of the fear sparked by the crimes and worry about what might happen next. The suspects were spotted in Claudia Bunce's Jade store north of Dees Lake.
I don't know how I feel. We've just heard the news that these boys that we were so concerned about are now suspects. So now we've gone from search and rescue and worrying that they were victims to now being suspects. I think it's going to take us some time to to be able to accept this.
So how anxious have you been the last few days?
Very.
Chief Marie Kwok launched overnight patrols in her remote community of 300. Normally open doors and windows have been locked tight, but now
A lot of relief, like I was saying, like I just could feel the relief in my body, and just knowing that we can get back to a somewhat normal life. I mean, I know it's going to take some time for everybody to recover and feel really okay.
many here embrace the remoteness and beauty of this area. But this week, the isolation heightened the fear, with no cell phone service and the nearest RCMP detachment an hour away.
CBC. Yeah, shift a little bit.
News the suspects were believed to have left the area brought relief for this group of 26 university students cycling thousands of kilometers from Texas to Alaska.
I mean, there's always that stereotype of Canada as our friendly neighbor of the north and stuff, and so to come up here and have to deal with the idea of just gruesome murders happening along these highways and stuff is definitely a little shocking and stuff, but I mean, it's also out here in the wilderness.
Although the hunt for the suspects has shifted, more possible crime scenes are being examined. This afternoon, police and searchers targeted a new area along the highway. With the fears of the last few days abating, many questions remain about this series of murders that are now believed linked, but are still in many ways inexplicable. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, East Lake, BC.
So many questions, too, in the suspect's hometown of Port Alberni on Vancouver Island about how two young men on a road trip are now wanted. Our Tanya Fletcher is now in Port Alberni to learn more about the suspects. And Tanya, what's it like there tonight?
Well, Ian, as we've heard, this is such a fast, fluid, and developing story. And what you notice most when you come here to Port Alberni is the stark contrast to the mood around town here. We're down here in the main part of the small city. This is the Harbor Quay. This is the main street right behind me here. And as you can see, it's pretty much a ghost town. That really is an indication just how small this place is and how well these people know each other. And many of these people still left with so many questions, and very few of them have any answers. Port Alberni is a picturesque city of about 20,000 people, just about smack dab in the middle of Vancouver Island. But none here ever thought that news would involve two of their own and are now murder suspects at the center of a cross-country manhunt.
It's a loss for words, really. I know how tight-knit our community is, and it hurts to kind of have something like that happen to people from here. And it's a scary thing, so I'm hoping we get the answers that we're looking for.
Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski have been friends most of their lives. They went to elementary school together, and loved ones say they've stayed close ever since. Recently, they worked together at Walmart.
I didn't know him well, but I know we all care about each other here, and it's nothing we want to hear ever. And especially when you know the names and you've seen them when you're growing up and all that. So it's a hard thing for sure.
It was only about 24 hours ago Briar Schmigelski's father made a plea to police to find his son. That's when he was considered a missing person, not a murder suspect.
They're just kids on an adventure. Like, they're good boys. They're really good boys. They've been friends since elementary school.
So that dad we heard from, he says he saw his son about every 2 weeks or so. They texted almost every day. And he actually went back to our local affiliate station here on Vancouver Island today after that interview to clarify some things. And he told them he didn't want to do an on-camera interview, but he said he's shocked and heartbroken to learn this updated news that his son is now a murder suspect. He says he never saw any red flags, and however it all ends, he's now lost his only child, and he thinks he might be, as he puts it, perhaps the most hated dad in the entire country. So that gives you just a feeling of the heavy feelings around here, not only for the people involved, but for the entire community, and lots of questions still to be answered here in Port Alberni as well. Ian?
Okay, Tanya, thanks for this. Tanya Fletcher in Port Alberni on Vancouver Island. For more insight into the investigation, we brought in a familiar face to the National, criminologist and former police officer Mike Arntfield. And Mike, we have a couple here shot and killed, another body found near a burned out vehicle almost 500 kilometers away. What do you make of those circumstances?
Well, immediately, now that we know that these incidents are related, the question that remains is what was the nature of the interaction with these individuals? So two confirmed victims and then a third body for which the identity and the circumstances, including the circumstances of death, remain unclear. What was the relationship between these individuals and the suspects? Are these random attacks? If so, I would suggest, in terms of when we look at about 120 what we call team killers, so two or more offenders working in tandem over the last about 120 years almost, very seldom would the first victim be an adult couple or two or more other people. So that begs the question, were these random attacks, and if so, are the first confirmed victims actually these suspects' first victims?
And again, given the circumstances, the RCMP's warning here to the public is that these two suspects are to be considered armed and dangerous. And your point of view here is that warning should be heeded.
Absolutely. This is an extreme, and we seldom see, fortunately, manhunts of this nature where there's an ongoing and imminent threat to public safety in Canada. But this quite clearly recalls the same circumstances of, at least to my mind, of the DC sniper case, where you have two, again, team killers, serial killers by definition, if in fact the second or the third victim, the second crime scene is attributable to them and that there was a homicide, who are at large, armed, and seemingly, based on what we've seen thus far, killing indiscriminately.
Mike Arnfield, a criminologist at Western University in London, Ontario. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian.
One other note, police confirming today that another missing persons case, this one in BC's southern interior, is not connected to the cases in the north.
We don't believe that's associated at all.
Ryan Provencher and Richard Skur haven't been seen since last Wednesday. They were last in Surrey, just outside of Vancouver, getting into a white Jeep Cherokee. That Jeep has since been found abandoned about 300 kilometers away near Logan Lake. All right, now a few big political stories to tell you about tonight. And Andrew, they stretch from the U.S. to the U.K.
Yeah, British Prime Minister Theresa May's replacement was announced today, and it was not exactly a nail-biter.
Jeremy Hunt, 46,656. Boris Johnson, 92,153.
So, Boris Johnson now leads the ruling Conservative Party, which will make him the next Prime Minister. But with Britain's top job comes the Brexit mess that's already taken down two of Johnson's predecessors. And yet, as Susan Ormiston shows us, he seems pretty confident he can clean it all up.
That Boris Johnson is elected as the leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party.
Dull, he is not. And for all his foibles, Boris Johnson brings unbridled optimism to a beleaguered country.
We are once again going to believe in ourselves and what we can achieve, and like some slumbering giant, we are going to rise and ping off the guy ropes of self-doubt.
He has won over Britain's Conservative Party, but not the country. Among the protesters who ringed the convention centre today, some vigorous critics.
What do you think of Boris Johnson as a PM?
I think he's a clown. I think he's an absolute clown.
I like it, it's brilliant.
Britain's governing party has taken a bold, perhaps last chance gamble to stay in power. In 18 years in public life, nearly half as London's mayor, Boris Johnson has been a colourful, if shambolic politician, driving the campaign to leave the European Union, inflating the perils of continued membership.
E for energize.
Now, it is his job to solve the impasse, deal or not.
We're going to get Brexit done on October the 31st. We're going to take advantage of all the opportunities that it will bring in a new spirit of can-do.
But it is a colossal challenge, with a razor-thin majority in Parliament and a deeply divided party. Johnson was chosen as an antidote to Theresa May, but he will need a magician's skill, says Harry Mount, who worked with him as a journalist for years.
He is fundamentally unpredictable. Something could go very badly wrong. I'd have thought anybody would find it very difficult to get through the almost impossible setup of Brexit. But there is this little bit of magic in Boris, which it's unlikely, but he could pull it off.
And from the man who raised Boris Johnson, well, steady on.
He does have a penchant for saying what he thinks.
Oh, I think that's all right. I think, you shouldn't
You shouldn't clamp that. You shouldn't squash that out totally.
Tomorrow, watch this door. Theresa May will be moving out and Boris Johnson moving in, each after meeting the Queen. He's already changing the tone. After a meeting of MPs this afternoon, one emerged to say, Boris love-bombed us. Snap polling, though, suggests nearly half of Brits are not so charmed. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, London.
U.S. President Donald Trump had only good things to say about Boris Johnson, repeatedly praising him and comparing Johnson to himself.
They're saying Britain Trump. They call him Britain Trump, and people are saying that's a good thing. That they like me over there. That's what they wanted. That's what they need. That's what they need. He'll get it done. Boris is good. He's going to do a good job.
Yeah, Trump also called Johnson tough, smart, and a really good man. Now, Trump may not be singing anyone's praises tomorrow. Special counsel Robert Mueller is finally going to testify before 2 U.S. House committees. He is, at best, a reluctant witness, saying he'd rather let his report speak for itself. But as Paul Hunter tells us, both Democrats and Republicans are eager to make the most of the opportunity.
Set for this room tomorrow, what's it gonna be? The Mueller movie, as some have dubbed it, a blockbuster or a dud?
The Russian witch hunt.
In Washington today, as he has so often, Donald Trump predicted the bottom line.
No collusion. They have no collusion.
The report of the so-called Russia investigation by former special counsel Robert Mueller is available for anyone to read, all 448 pages of it, albeit with redactions. It found insufficient evidence the Trump campaign colluded with Russia on election meddling in 2016. But, as Mueller himself has underlined, it doesn't clear Trump of obstructing justice. On Capitol Hill tomorrow, lawmakers, knowing most Americans haven't read the report, want to dive into its details, with Mueller taking questions under oath. But he's long insisted the report should speak for itself, a view shared by the Justice Department, which in a letter yesterday pressed Mueller to, in effect, limit what he says. Today, Republicans downplayed expectations.
I've heard all I need to hear from Mueller. I've read his report. I accept the findings. I don't think it's going to change public opinion.
Or will it? Democrats seem to be betting even if Mueller simply reads aloud parts of his report, it'll reignite questions on Trump's behavior as president as the 2020 election draws ever closer.
We want to get these facts out so the American people know what we're dealing with and hear it from Mueller himself, rather than the lies that are coming from the president.
So the big question, what will Mueller say? This is his chance to clarify anything he's seen, heard, or learned in all of this. Donald Trump will be in the White House tomorrow. He said he might watch some of it. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Here's some of the other stories we're following tonight on The National. Almost 70 people, dozens of them children, were taken to hospital with minor injuries after a fiery school bus crash north of Montreal.
Je me reposais lorsque le chauffeur il a arrêté direct, puis après on a entendu un gros bang venant de derrière.
It happened around 10 this morning when a car came to a sudden stop on a highway, the bus driver hitting that car. Then a second bus ran up the back, causing a fire. Witnesses grabbed ladders and stools to help the children out through the windows. Incredibly, no serious injuries. One person is dead and another missing after a house fire an hour's drive east of Ottawa. It broke out around 2:30 in the morning. Firefighters discovering a body inside, and police are now working to track down a second person. No word yet on the cause.
And when we come back, why some companies are helping pay for their employees' vacations.
And later, is it a push for inclusivity or an unfair advantage? We'll look at the debate over transgender athletes. Plus,
we're here, we got to try to do something. And that's where it came from. We got to try to do something.
Gets a front row seat for a rescue operation off the coast of Nova Scotia.
It's the height of the summer, but for many people, it's too expensive to travel or maybe too hard to take time off. But what if your employer helped pay for your trip, even gave you a push out the door? Jacqueline Hansen has more on a Canadian startup that's convincing companies to do just that.
There's Nice. I love Nice.
Caitlin Ward's trip to France and Italy wasn't for work, but it was paid for partly by her employer.
For this trip, your company pitched in $500 essentially.
Yes.
Vacation Fund? It's thanks to a Toronto startup called Vacation Fund, a benefit program founded by a travel-hungry entrepreneur.
Initially, I just wanted to help people save for their travel goals. And then I started asking people, I said, okay, well, what really prevents you from going on vacation?
The answer, either a lack of money or worries over taking time off of work.
Sometimes they need to push out the door because they're hesitant to ask for time off, right? They're hesitant to let their colleagues down. Congratulations, welcome to your Vacation Fund.
Vacation Fund aims to address the emotions and the money by encouraging employees to save for a vacation and rewarding them for doing it.
We basically allow employees to direct a portion of their paycheck into a separate Vacation Fund account, and companies are typically matching a portion of the contribution.
Workers contribute an average of $53 per paycheck, and companies match anywhere from $10 to $100. Creative workplace perks like this have become a popular way to win over younger workers.
There's not as many benefits as maybe the older generation had, so less, RRSP matching, not as many pensions, that kind of thing.
This financial planner cautions that while younger workers may not prioritize it now, the long-term payoff of retirement or health benefits could be far greater.
If we're replacing those with perks that are definitely more fun in the short run, and they have that impact, like that high emotional return on investment right away, I think over the long run, we might see that being a bad thing.
But Vacation Fund's founder says there are other valuable payoffs.
For an employer to say, no, I'm putting money aside so that you will use time off and you will disconnect and you will do something for yourself outside of work, these employees are generally coming back more productive and more engaged and grateful for the company that they worked for.
Ward is already planning her next getaway, and work-wise,
something like Vacation Fund definitely does, keep me where I am. It signals to me that my employer cares about what I value and what's interesting to me.
$500 that, in the form of a raise, might not have made a big difference to Ward, but packaged as a vacation perk makes this millennial feel far richer. Jacqueline Hansen, CBC News, Toronto.
And still ahead tonight, an in-depth look at an issue dividing the sporting world. How should transgender athletes compete? That's up next.
1 year to go. All of the excitement is growing here.
Well, tomorrow marks the one-year countdown to the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo. Unlike in Rio in 2016, organizers are well ahead of the game at this stage. Most venues largely complete. More than 3 million tickets have been sold. More than 200,000 people in Japan and abroad have already applied to be volunteers. And there is at least one other reason Tokyo 2020 stands out. It is expected to feature the first openly transgender Olympic athletes in competition. Many applaud that inclusivity, but not everyone. Critics say trans athletes have unfair advantages in size and strength over women. So our Briar Stewart met two Canadians at the very center of that debate. One is an athlete, the other a scientist. Here's how they see it.
I like to say that the bike doesn't care about what gender you were assigned at birth. The bike doesn't judge you.
Rachel McKinnon is getting set to compete in one of her first races of the season. A small crowd of spectators has gathered just outside of Atlanta to cheer on some of the local cyclists.
Rachel McKinnon winding up now.
No one appears too concerned with McKinnon during her time trial, but in the past, she's found herself at the center of a political firestorm. She's transgender, and last year she won a world championship for her age group, racing against women.
McKinnon takes it into world champion, oh Canada.
The world championship win was a little historic. And it's completely surreal that I'm that person. Like, I'm just some girl from Victoria, BC, who just wanted to race her bike.
Normally, the win would have attracted very little media attention, but not this time.
The Canadian transgender athlete is facing a backlash after winning the Cycling World Championship. Rachel McKinnon, who was born male,
she says the reaction online was overwhelming.
A lot of support, but good goddess, the amount of backlash was a new level for me. I estimate it was about 3,000 to 1 negative and generally very hateful comments to positive ones.
McKinnon is a fiercely outspoken transgender activist and academic. She's become a central part of the roiling debate around rules, rights, and biology in elite sport. At issue just how to include trans women in competition.
The idea that we need to protect women's or female sport from other women and females is itself inherently discriminatory. No testosterone policy will ever work. They should respect an athlete's legally recognized sex or gender.
McKinnon publicly posted her testosterone levels online to show just how low they are, nearly indetectable. She believes trans athletes shouldn't be forced to take hormone therapy at all. That's a stark contrast to the type of guidelines many sporting federations, including the International Olympic Committee, have in place. Before, if a transgender athlete wanted to compete in the Olympics, they had to have sex reassignment surgery, but those rules changed in 2016. They now focus on testosterone levels. There are no restrictions if someone transitions to a man, but if they transition to a woman, they need to take hormone therapy for at least a year in order to be eligible to compete.
Lift, 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 lift. Pick up the big toe. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This isn't just an issue limited to the highest levels of sport like the Olympics.
Jump, float, beautiful.
But it's permeated throughout different levels of competition.
2, 3, 4.
Linda Blade is a coach and president of Athletics Alberta. She believes it isn't right to have trans women compete in female categories and instead should be in an open division.
I think a lot of women worldwide feel that's blatantly unfair because if a person has gone through puberty with the full sort of testosterone levels that make them taller and their lungs bigger and their muscles bigger and their frame size larger, they have just incredible advantage. It doesn't matter that you take down their testosterone for 1 year.
She says competitive sports already separate people based on their body type. For instance, she says flyweight boxers don't compete against heavyweights. In the U.S., trans athletes have sparked a lot of debate. In Connecticut, some parents started a petition demanding a rule change after 2 trans athletes started winning girls' high school sprint races. Online, the conversation has turned particularly toxic, with insults thrown from all sides. Blade says many are afraid to speak up and share their opinions.
Everybody's made to feel like a bigot if they say something wrong, and then the mob comes after you, the social media mob. I feel like we need to really have this conversation in a safe way, where we're all able to say what we want to say without just assuming that we all hate the other side. Lift, lift.
She questions why there's such a rush to introduce a transgender policy, saying the ramifications haven't been properly studied. But there is scientific research underway.
Everything you got, here's where it counts. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Inside this sports lab, Jillian Bearden is being tested.
Awesome part of the test.
Her oxygen intake is measured and her blood is taken.
Just hang with it. Stay focused.
She's part of a research study and is an ideal candidate because she was tested before she transitioned, so there's baseline data. Overall, her power is down by more than 11%.
You're doing all of this testing and you're making the data available for research. Like, why is that important for you to have that information out there?
It gives me a safe place and the women I compete with knowing that I'm legit, let's say. You know, there's no questions that when I'm on that podium that I'm on there because of any other reason than I'm an athlete and I train my ass off every single day.
Bearden is a road racer and recently won a women's state championship. She believes trans athletes should be required to take hormone therapy and get their testosterone levels tested because her performance data shows just what kind of difference it can make.
I do feel that if you want to compete in the women's field, that you have to comply with the rules that are out currently right now.
Most women's testosterone levels are below 3 nanomoles a liter. The rules require that trans women keep their levels below 10 nanomoles, but that's expected to change before the next Olympics and be cut to 5.
That's it, Julie, come on, this is it.
Bearden is part of a small study, but very little research has been done in this area. Canadian Joanna Harper is hoping to change that. As a trans athlete and a scientist, Harper has unique insight. She started her transition in 2004.
Within 9 months of hormone therapy, I was running 12% slower. And that's the difference between serious male distance runners and serious female distance runners.
As a long-distance runner, the gap was shocking, but as a medical physicist, intriguing. So she set out to track trans athletes, including Bearden. Harper became an advisor to the IOC, and this fall will help lead a much larger study at a university in the UK. She says there are still gaps around understanding how athletes are affected by gender transition. Once someone goes through puberty, how do their muscles and cardiovascular systems respond to the drugs?
Why do you think this is something that the sports community needs to deal with right now?
So it would be very, very easy for a few individuals with full male athletic capability to completely swamp the women, and we saw that in the Rio Olympics.
Semenya now taking the lead, looking fresh and powerful.
By that she means the 800-meter final.
It'll be Semenya all by herself.
South African runner Caster Semenya took gold. She, along with the silver and bronze medalists, all have unusually high levels of testosterone. While the context around trans and intersex athletes is very different, it's all become part of this larger, often contentious discussion around what is a simple advantage and what is unfair. And Harper has often found herself right in the middle of it.
All I can do is continue to push on and try to be rational and reasonable and hopefully get more science and more data But yeah, it's hard when things are so divided and so heated.
And often public and very personal. Rachel McKinnon said she had to ask 4 people to flag the hateful content that was coming in on her Twitter feed.
These fears that trans women are a threat to women's sport are irrational fears of trans women, which is the dictionary definition of transphobia, and we need to call it what it is.
McKinnon may be one of the most vocal activists in this entire debate, but tonight at this race, she was quieter, even appearing apprehensive. She chose to race alongside the men in one event because they would push her.
Blazing away from the field.
She ended up finishing well back.
1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Afterwards, though, it was the women who wanted to meet her.
I hope that by the time an athlete who's trans gets in the Olympics, that we celebrate that and not revisit this debate over again, whether it's fair or not.
But that might be wishful thinking. Right now, this issue remains very divisive. And as the next Olympics get closer, it's possible the debate could get even louder.
Good work, Rachel. Way to ride tonight.
Briar Stewart, CBC News, near Atlanta, Georgia.
And when we come back, paying to protect whales off the California coast. But first, in case you missed it, Gaynor the gopher is in trouble again. The beloved Saskatchewan Roughriders mascot was shown during the home opener with BC savaging a stuffed lion in a, let's face it, inappropriate fashion. The Roughriders have acknowledged Gaynor took it too far. But the gopher already faces claims he's an imposter. You see, this is old Gaynor for reference, and this is new Gaynor, who debuted early this month. If the leaner, more manic, green-eyed look seems off to you, you're not alone. One comment, psychotic, anorexic chipmunk, sums up the online response. A petition immediately called for the Roughriders to bring Gaynor back. Now, the team responded by losing the green eye color. This latest incident suggests that won't be enough. Still, though, before you pine for old Gaynor, remember, he's been steeped in the gritty world of gridiron mascots for decades, and have we not been entertained? So consider the possibility that new Gaynor isn't an imposter, it's the old Gaynor, driven over the edge, and behind the wild grin, the once green eyes, maybe, just maybe, a cry for help.
I'm Matthew Braga, filling in for Jamie Poisson. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, we look at Canada's illegal pot shops, how they get away with brazenly defying the law, and why they exist in the age of legal weed. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. Chaos again erupted on the streets of Puerto Rico overnight. For a third time, police fired tear gas into crowds as protesters refused to leave from outside the governor's mansion. They're calling for him to resign after journalists published a series of homophobic and sexist messages between the governor and members of his inner circle. Officials have now ordered they hand over their cell phones.
It's already really hot right now, and it's kind of, affecting us a lot. Like, a lot.
France is living through another week of scorching heat. Bordeaux hit 41.2 degrees today. That is the highest temperature the city has ever recorded. Record-breaking temperatures are expected for much of Europe this week.
Well, at the top of the food chain, whales have only one predator, us. There have been centuries of hunting, and among the more recent threats, pollution, climate change, commercial boat traffic, all threaten to push the species into extinction. Now, in Canada's Atlantic, whales are dying at alarming rates. There's a frantic effort to save them. But first, we go to the American Pacific. Along the West Coast, dozens of gray whales have turned up dead this year. Kim Brunhuber met with federal officials in California with a plan to protect populations that might actually be working.
300 meters above the Santa Barbara Channel.
And we got an animal, I think, off to our left.
We're on the lookout for the telltale spray of a whale spout.
We definitely have a big blow below us. One humpback, two humpback.
But this monthly flight over the Channel Islands Marine Sanctuary isn't just about spotting whales.
That's actually one of the smaller container ships.
Sean Hastings is searching for something else, something that makes the bus-sized mammals below us look like goldfish.
We have the confluence of ships coming in from Asia, and unfortunately, right through the feeding grounds of these blue fin and humpback whales.
Along the West Coast this year, whales have been dying in unusually high numbers. At least 4 were hit by ships. One solution, getting ships to slow down.
When you reduce the speed of a ship down to 10 knots, you reduce the likelihood of a fatal strike by 50%.
But just asking the companies to get their ships to go slower hasn't worked. So now federal officials on the California coast are actually paying them. Companies get a small stipend based on the distance their fleets travel at 10 knots or slower. 6 years ago, only 17% of ships were slowing down. Now it's up to 45%.
There is an OOCL Canada ship underway at 9.7 knots, which is good to see.
Now, Canadian maritime authorities are watching closely to see if something similar might work on northern coasts.
And it's only limited by budget right now in terms of the number of ships we can incentivize to slow down.
Providing incentives to all ships in the protected waters would cost about $2 million a year, but with a budget only a tenth that size, they can only reach a sliver of the thousands of container ships that pass through these waters. The ship below us, for instance, is traveling almost twice the recommended speed.
If a whale is hit, it's pretty guaranteed it will be killed by that speed.
By increasing awareness, authorities had hoped to eventually wean companies off the payments. But they admit it's still a challenge to get ships to slow down on maritime highways with no speed limits. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Oxnard, California.
Now, in the Atlantic, it has been another devastating year for right whales. At least 8 North Atlantic right whales have been found dead. Others have been spotted tangled in fishing gear. So to save the estimated 400 right whales left, earlier this month, Transport Canada tightened rules, expanding protected zones where ships need to slow down and increasing aerial surveillance and rescue efforts. Rescues can be expensive and time-consuming. It can take precious hours to find and free animals in danger. Colleen Jones has a tale of a trapped whale who came across a tour boat crewed by 2 seafarers who dared to take matters into their own hands.
Leaving Lunenburg past the brightly painted waterfront buildings and seals basking in the sun, this is a whale watching tour, and yesterday the tourists got more than the signature blow of a humpback whale. The boat's captain, Walter Flower, noticed this whale was in trouble.
Geez, if I had a grapple, I could get that, man.
Yeah,
when we came up pretty close to it, I could see that it had gear on it, a rope and a buoy trailing behind it.
After a phone call, they were told Department of Fisheries and Ocean could be there by dusk, but Captain Flower thought that would be too late. The skipper decided they couldn't just leave the tangled humpback. With zero experience in untangling a whale, but plenty of ocean smarts, they took on the rescue.
I didn't know what he was going to do, but he just didn't want to leave him go on his own, right?
While Captain Walter picked up his phone to capture this video, he was also steering the boat. And the only crew member, Kevin Dares, had the dangerous task of lassoing a line tangled on a whale.
Ahead of it, and ahead of it, because the whale will bring it right down, right? I'll tell you when to throw it.
Throw the rope boat over the other line, you know what I mean, without falling overboard, that kind of stuff.
After about the 10th try, Kevin got it, and it was hooked up, fish on. So we were ready for the Nantucket sleigh ride, as they say. So,
what does that mean, the Nantucket sleigh ride?
Nantucket sleigh ride is when the old whalers, when they'd harpoon a whale in their whaleboats, and they'd hang on for dear life, and the whale would take off.
Luckily, the whale cooperated, and soon he was free.
Been a lot of tragedy with whales over this last little while, and so even just to be able to get that off of that guy was kind of a good feeling.
As they carry what's now called ghost gear up onto the dock, this is a huge problem for all marine life, and especially whales. There's no simple fix to something that needs fixing fast, but this is one whale entanglement story with a happy ending, thanks to two men who refused to sail away. Colleen Jones, CBC News, off of Cross Island.
When we come back, consider it a warning.
And there's the vehicle that they broke the window in so they could put the fire hose through.
A poor parking job, a fire, and a split-second decision is next in tonight's moment. Well, here's proof you should make sure you're not blocking a fire hydrant when you park. Smashed windows, fire hose through the back seat, and a parking ticket. This is what was waiting for a driver in Halifax yesterday after a fire broke out, and when crews arrived, they found that vehicle parked in front of the hydrant. And what happened next is tonight's teachable moment.
First off, it was the amount of noise with the sirens and whatnot, and then I came down and we were blocked right straight down, and then I heard people talking about the vehicle and was like, what vehicle? So I came around, that's when I saw the hose. They broke the vehicle's window to put the water hose through it.
The only other option was to go through the car. Going over the car would have totally destroyed the outside. Just the weight of the hose would have crushed everything. A couple of broken windows is a small price to pay for life safety of firefighters inside of a building. Even if it has a parking sign, it's still no parking in front of any hydrant. You think about what hydrants are used for, they're the life safety of firefighters and the residents. So I guess the message is, when you see a fire hydrant, do not park in front of it, because you never know when that hydrant needs to be used.
And now, Andrew, that message has been made right across the country. Although, to be fair, there was a sign apparently, as you just heard, that said you could park there. And grass apparently hid the hydrant, although the hydrant looked pretty clear in our video.
Right, but and of course the law is the law, and so there is a parking ticket. Although police have said, honestly, the cost of repairing the windows is probably more than the cost of the ticket, and the city says it's not going to help with the cost of repairing those windows.
No kidding.
That's the National for this July 23rd. Have a good night.
Good night.